and welcome to another episode of Storytime with the Scarish Podcast.
Woo!
I'm Robin Grace, and this is Adam Diaz.
Hello.
And we're here to tell you guys some stories.
Indeed we are. We're very excited to be here. Thank you to everyone.
I forgot to put my jacket on.
What's that?
I forgot to put my jacket on.
Oh, fun stuff. Thank you to everyone who is here live on youtube.com/Scarish Podcast and twitch.tv/Scarish. I think I might have gotten those backwards. I'm pretty sure I did actually, but we appreciate all of you for watching, and we appreciate every single one of you listening. And like we had mentioned earlier in the week during the regular topic episode, we're going to have the homegrown horrors that you folks send us be primarily done, I should say only done, here on the Storytime episodes. We're not going to do them on the topic episodes anymore, so you know exactly where they will all be, and we're very excited to start doing that. So we have 6 for you tonight, and I did want to let you folks know that because we are going to shift around the format a little bit, and because the live episodes tend to run between 2 to 2.5 hours, we're going to bring that down a little bit starting next week. We typically read 6 stories. We're going to start reading 4 stories per episode going forward. And now is a great time to get your story in. And if you would like to do that, you can reach out to us by emailing storytime@scarish.com. You can also go to our website, scarish.com, and click on Contact Us and send us your story that way. You can tweet at us at ScarishPod. You can message us on Instagram at ScarishPodcast. You can message us on Facebook, which is a really good way to do it, facebook.com/ScarishPodcast. And if you want some instant feedback, you can join our Facebook group, which is the Scarish Spooky Friends group, and post there, or you can join our Discord. The best way to join the Discord, obviously, is to, well, I guess not obviously, but go to scarish.com and click on the link for Discord. All of our social media links are there, and it'll get you right there, and it's just a fun thing to do. I really like our Discord server. I really like our Scarish Spooky Friends group on Facebook. Lots of memes. We have a channel in the Discord called Dad Jokes, which is always super fun, so not always just super scary content, but just a really fun community. So
cool.
We appreciate all of you folks. Are you going to start, or am I going to start this week?
I'll start because I have one that's super short.
I think how they went, we have some short ones this week, and this is the perils of reading them as they come in. Is you have a short one, a medium one, and a long one. I have 2 very short ones and one extremely long one. So yeah, that'll be fun.
So this really short one that I have, it is titled Nephew Talking in His Sleep. And I just want to say, talking in your sleep is one of the creepiest things, because I've been with people where they've talked and said the strangest things, like something about cake or some weird shit that's happening in their minds.
She's not talking about me. I don't know what incident she's talking about, to be honest with you.
But it's talking in your sleep is a weird thing.
I had a friend come out, and we went out for a beer. We were in Vegas. This is a few weeks ago, actually. We went out and we got a little bit day drunk. I was okay, so I drove home, and he crashed out on the couch for a little while before we went to dinner. And when he woke up, he was still drunk and half still sleeping. So he woke up, and I was like, "Hey man, your girlfriend is calling your phone." He's like, and then he went back to sleep.
I thought he was joking.
And then he fell back asleep, and I woke him up again. He fell back asleep again. It was this huge thing. Then I finally held the phone in front of his face, no, she's really calling you. He was like, oh shit. And then he woke up and he was talking to her, and he was just saying bizarre random stuff. I thought he was having a stroke, or they were just having this bizarre conversation that I was only hearing one end of. And when we finally met up with her, it was the first time I had met her, and she was like, I was really wondering what you did to him, because it sounded like he was on drugs, because I had no idea what he was saying. I was like, I don't know. This was all on him. So yeah, talking in your sleep is definitely a weird thing when you wake up and continue talking.
So this email goes, "Hi, Robin and Adam."
Hello.
Okay, so I have a story for you guys. One night, I went to the kitchen to get a drink, and I could hear my nephew talking in his sleep. So I'm like, I'm gonna go mess with him. I start talking to him, and he starts to respond. And after a few minutes, he sits up and says, "Uncle, who's that?" And he pointed to the corner of his room that looks a little darker than it should.
Yeah, those tables turn pretty quick, didn't they?
He falls right back down on his bed and is still sound asleep. At this point, I'm like, nope, time to get the fuck back to my room and act like this didn't happen. I have a few other weird ones, and I will share some other time. Sweet. I just realized that this is from my friend Chris from Hawaii.
Shout out to Chris.
Yeah, he's Iris's husband.
Yeah, I figured.
So...
And Iris was nice enough to share with us just before the show that Brooklyn Nine-Nine just got renewed for a 7th season, because she knows that we're huge fans of it. So very excited about that.
I'm super excited, and I'm super proud of them. They've done a lot of work to get there.
Quick shout out to This Gray Coat. They subscribed through their Twitch Prime account to our Twitch channel. They actually did it before the show. I reran the notification because everyone deserves to see their notification ran across the live stream. So thank you so much for that. But yeah, that is super cool. I thought I recognized the name when it came in, so when I sent it over, I was like, I got to make sure to give this one to Robin so she can read it. I think it's hilarious that you're like, I'm going to mess with my nephew.
Their nephew's the cutest kid, though. no.
The nephew's like, there's a demon in the corner. Not exactly that, but I just think it's really funny that the tables turned really
They
quick.
have a dog, so I assume if there is something there, the dog would be
notice.
like, yeah.
So here's the thing. Our dog is like next level adorable, and she's been doing stuff
Which one?
lately, Yui. They both are, but Yui, our corgi, has been doing stuff lately where she sleeps on the bed with us. She usually sleeps by Robin's feet. And she's been coming up to like sleep by our heads, and she'll sleep between us or like on our pillows. It's super adorable. It's next level cuddly. And I realized that she started doing it when we were watching a horror movie that was really loud. And I considered briefly, I'm like, maybe she's scared because there's something at the foot of the bed. And she's like, I need to sleep by their heads. So I've been considering that a little bit. Although when she gets bored, she does just straight up jump off the bed and sleep at the foot of the bed. So maybe that's not the case. Either way, it's adorable and maybe slightly terrifying without realizing it.
I could see that.
So fun stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and move into my first email of the show. And this one's subject is please feel free to share. And I appreciate that subject because I don't have to worry that we're reading something we shouldn't be. And it starts out like this. Hey, Adam and Robin.
Hey.
Hello. Oh, and I'm going to say Adam's name first because everyone always says, hi, Robin and Adam. I'm so glad they noticed. That makes me feel good. So I found your podcast on Spotify. Shout out to Spotify. And I'm listening right now. I live in Alaska.
That's amazing.
It's amazing that they live in Alaska?
I just think it's cool because, like, I honestly do not meet people from Alaska very often.
It's pretty far away.
Yeah, so, I mean, what's it like living there?
It is really nice to get emails from people all over the world. It really is. So let's keep going. At the time, that's how this sentence starts. So at the time, I was at my...
read.
I hate you so much. So at the time,
TLDR.
So at the time, I was at my grandma's old people home. There were, I mean, you could technically call any home an old person was in an old people home.
That's fucked up.
So there were 3 floors. On the first floor, there's a big TV. On the second floor, there's exercise equipment. And on the third floor, there's just nothing, just apartments. But my friends and I were bullshitting around, and we were screwing around with a ghost hunter app. That's a weird thing to do in an old folks' home.
I've heard a lot of people do that, though. Like, there's apps that allow you to speak to spirits, but I don't know how it works. I don't understand
what
the technology.
What happens is you buy the app, and then you have something that's fake on your phone, and they run with your money. That's what those things are. So they're using the Ghost Hunter app. Nothing happened. We walked down the hall and played with the app. By the time we got to the first floor, we were done. One of the girls, let's call her May, asked for one more question. M-A-Y. Asked for one more question. We said yes. We were in front of the TV. We asked, is anyone there? The game said yes. We said, where? It said, in the TV. We asked for a sign, and the TV turned on. I don't know if your app could do that. That's pretty creepy.
I don't think the app would do that, but I think...
The technology is there, but I don't think anyone would do that. No. Although it's kind of brilliant if they did. So that's really creepy, though.
What's creepy is if they're actually talking to something that's really there, and they turn their TV on.
Yeah, obviously.
Because, I mean, in Poltergeist, it happens.
Yeah. Don't get sucked in the TV. And they go on to say...
They're here.
They go on to say, we noped the fuck out. That's good to hear that happened. And you're like, we're good now.
Yeah, but all the old people there are going to die.
I mean, they were already going to die. Let's be real.
What?
Oh, wow. Shocker. Did I just say something that is completely obvious? Seriously, though, I love my grandparents and I miss them. Anyways, thanks for reading this. Please read this on the podcast. I love your podcast. Keep on doing what you're doing. You're amazing at it. Thank you very much. We appreciate you sending that. I like the fact that this happened. You were very skeptical about it, but when something popped off, you're like, I'm good, I'm out. Because I think that's basically the mindset you need to be in if you're going to mess around with that stuff. I think a lot of people, especially when you're younger, are really curious. Like, I wonder if anything like this is actually going to happen. And when you have that mindset, you might get yourself into a little bit of trouble. So it's good to always have like the escape plan in your brain so you can just GTFO if you need to.
Yeah.
So good stuff.
So this one is cool. It starts, Aloha, Robin and Adam.
Nice. Aloha.
I love Lilo and Stitch. That movie. I tried to make Adam watch Lilo and Stitch.
I did.
But he didn't enjoy it.
That's not true. I pretended I didn't enjoy it to
Yeah,
upset
but he didn't
you.
even watch till the end.
That's because they had to turn it off. Like, they blame me for natural occurrences where we had to leave.
No, me and Liz, we watched it till the end. Yes, we did.
Keep going.
We fucking watched it till the end.
And then I watched it to the end as well later. Because she was
like,
what
happens at the end?
She's done this to me before. He gets on the spaceship goes down, everything winds up working out.
Okay, and what are they doing at the end?
I don't know.
It's because you didn't watch it till the
Ohana
end.
means home. That's
No, it doesn't.
What does it mean?
It means family.
To me, Ohana means
get out.
Chicken katsu curry. That's what it means to me.
No, get out.
This is my life. Right. This is my life right here.
Anyway, I'm currently on episode 19 of the podcast after months of listening and trying to catch up with each episode since December of 2018, which is
2 months ago.
2 months ago.
We're into January emails now, folks. So we're not like in the 3-month backlog. We're on a month backlog at this point.
Oh, no.
So we've caught up because we didn't get a lot during the holidays.
All you new listeners that are tuning in for the first time, please send us your stories at storytime@scaryish.com.
And those of you who are like, I'll send you another one, or have been like, I'll send one eventually, I just have to sit down and write it.
Send it to us.
Now's the time to
Now
do it.
is the time. There's no time like
Carpe D's nuts. I've said it before. I'll say it again.
Anyway, so December 2018, I found your show on Spotify, so woot woot.
Shout out Spotify.
First of all, you can totally read this on the show. That'd be pretty cute. Here it is. We're being cute. Second of all, my absolute fave episode is when you guys had your Hawaii ghost stories with your friend from Hawaii.
A lot of people really like that episode.
Amanda's
a shit,
yeah,
dude.
He's very charismatic, and his stories were very entertaining. We really have to get our friend Ralph on because he has a great...
He has really good stories, too. And the thing about Amando and Ralph in particular is that when they tell you their stories, there's something about them where you just really do believe them. You're like, that sounds like it actually happened, and that is messed up stuff. So we got to have Mondo on again. We have to have Ralph on, like, period.
And I want to have my cousin on one of these episodes, too.
David?
Yeah.
I'd be totally down having David on. David's great.
By the way, my name is Joe, and I'm from the Big Island. Awesome. I've never been to the Big Island. I've been to every single island except for the Big Island. When I was, I want to say 12, my whole family went and left me because I had school. So I was just like, I guess I'll just go fuck myself.
All right. Like that episode of Top Chef where he's like, can you guys help me carry this stuff? And everyone ignores him. He's like, okay, I'll just go fuck myself then.
So you're right. And they all went to go see the volcano and all the cool stuff. And I'm just like sitting there like, I guess I'm not going to go. And so I've never been. And now I'm turning 30.
It is sad that they left you behind, but they did leave you behind on Maui, right? The other like really nice island. They're all really nice, I think. I mean, I've never been, and she says I'm never allowed to go. So
I hate it. I mean, okay, I don't hate being in Hawaii.
She has
enjoy
an
it.
Island full of exes that she'd prefer for me to not visit.
Yeah, you know how people say all my exes live in Texas? No, they live in Hawaii, and I don't want to go back there. I really enjoy hanging out there. They do have a lot more comic conventions and stuff than when I used to live there.
We talked to a guy
great.
out here, that was talking about how he makes really good money out in Hawaii.
Right, and I just think it's really cool. I enjoy the beaches and shopping and all that stuff. Waikiki, I love you. But I just don't want to run into people.
That's fine.
I mean, it happens.
Let's get back to this email show.
Anyway.
I don't know how we got on this tangent.
This isn't Hawaii specific, but I wanted to share with you my first clearly remembered sleep paralysis when I was in college at Manoa. My roommates... Oh, this is why you sent it to me, didn't you?
I had no idea.
Okay.
You just needed a long one, so I sent you a long
right.
one. Which you're leading... Oh, no, this is your second email, so whatever.
My roommates and I went out to Cafe Kyla for breakfast, and we had to wake up early to not get stuck in a long line because it's somewhat of a popular place. At least it was back in 2014. When we got back to our dorm, we all went back to sleep, and it was after 7:30 a.m., and I was dead tired and also possibly having a Kanak attack. Okay.
Please explain.
So a Kanak attack is like you eat a whole bunch, and right after you eat, you're just like, I need to take a nap.
It's the itis.
Yes.
He got that itis.
So in Hawaii, we call it a Kanak attack.
That's catchier, I'd say.
I like it.
I saw that in the email because for whatever reason, when I went to forward it to you, it highlighted it like it was a hyperlink. So I don't know if he actually made it a hyperlink to like let us know what a Kanak attack was, but I was just like, oh, that's weird. And I'd sent it as like normal text, so it broke the link. So
okay.
No, I'm glad you knew what it was.
I went to sleep, and that's when I had this abnormal dream. This isn't the first time I've had a sleep paralysis dream, but it had been a long time since then. I woke up and was very aware of where I was on my dorm bed and how I was positioned. So naturally, I think I'm awake. Then, all of a sudden, everything is slow motion, and I see a long white pillow that's against the wall that I don't have in real life. And I see it hovering over me like it's falling on me. Then it completely covers my head, and I feel this evil presence, and I realize that the pillow isn't falling from the wall, but that someone or something is forcing it over my head to try and suffocate me.
I have that dream a lot, too, except it's Robin, and I'm holding the pillow.
At first, I pull away, but that's when everything is in full slow motion again, and I try to scream, but whatever comes out is muffled, like as if I'm underwater, and you can't hear anything clearly. Have you ever done that before? Like put your head under the water, but have your face outside the water, but your ears and stuff are underwater, so you can hear everything.
I don't scream, but yeah, I've done it like in the tub or whatever.
Well, not scream, but like you can hear all the weird
like,
sounds.
I usually like
that.
sing or hum like da 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 da, and underneath the water it's like.
I can't move or speak or scream, and it gets harder and harder to breathe, and my heart starts pounding fast, and then the ominous shadow behind my pillow gets darker and bigger as it pushes against me. This happened for a few long seconds, and finally I wake up for real, and I'm looking around, feeling that evil presence around me, and I try my hardest to shake off the dream, but I'm so unbelievably tired, so there's nothing to do but go back to sleep again. My mistake. Oh, yeah.
The worst thing is falling back into a bad dream.
When I'm having a nightmare and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to take this blanket away from my face because I feel like I'm going to see something I don't want to see. And then you go back into it again and then you're just like, wait, great. This is just as bad as if I had opened my eyes and saw something.
I feel like it's always comical falling back into a nightmare because you wake up. Sometimes you go and do something like maybe go pee or like get a glass of water, then you fall back asleep. And like the moment when you like get back into the dream, I feel like everyone does this thing where they like look around and you're aware you're dreaming for half a second. You're like, well, shit. And then you forget you're asleep and you just fall back into the nightmare.
Yeah. Being cautious, I turn the other way, with my back towards the wall this time. I close my eyes and have this regular yet scary-ish
well done
dream, but it was just a dream nonetheless, so I don't make it a big deal. And then I start to fake wake up again, and this time I'm fully aware of where I'm positioned on my bed and know that it's a different position from the first time, so I try to sit up. But then everything turns back to slow motion and something is physically holding me back this time. I can't open my eyes. Other times that I've had sleep paralysis, I find it difficult to open my eyes. So I'm doing everything I can to open my goddamn eyes, using every bit of my strength, but nothing. I start calling out for help because my suite mates are in the other room. So I'm yelling for them. But
suite mates means like sweet, S-U-I-T-E mates,
yeah,
right?
Right.
It's not just a Hawaii term where you call your friends like S-W-E-E-T mates.
Yeah.
That would be fucking cool, though. You're my sweet mate.
Aw. So I'm yelling for them, but then my mouth is being forced shut.
That's creepy.
I can't imagine having this like sleep paralysis where you're like, I can't move, can't open my eyes, can't open my mouth. But what is worse, not being able to open your mouth or screaming and having nothing come out?
I don't know. I think screaming and having nothing come out isn't as bad because if your mouth is open, at least you can breathe. I feel like if my mouth was closed, I'd be worried I was going to suffocate. I mean, even though you can breathe through your nose like a normal person. But
all
like,
right.
It's just one thing, like one extra layer of terror where it's like, I can't make sound and I can't breathe through my mouth. So it's like all they need to do is just pinch your nose and you're dead. So that's what it would be for me.
Do you think if they tried to pinch your nose and so you couldn't breathe that you would wake up because
instinctively your mouth would open? I don't
know. Kind of like that episode of Doctor Who with the blood magic where it's like the very first episode of the season with David Tennant. Right. And they try to make everyone like jump off the roof or whatever.
All a bluff.
Yeah, but you can't make someone kill themselves. I think that's kind of the thing where it's like they might hold your breath or make you hold your breath. And so you're like having a hard time breathing or you can't breathe. And then you just wake up because that's just, you can't.
Let's hope that's the case.
Yeah.
Because then maybe David Tennant will show up in pajamas and save you.
That's my theory. Ooh, come save me, David Tennant.
Wow. She's all hot and bothered now. She can't find her spot.
In another time I've had sleep paralysis, my mouth had been sewn shut. That's creepy. It's like both my eyes and mouth are melting into my face and I can't feel them anymore. And then finally I get my voice to sound through this big ass mess that's happening to my body. And I'm calling out my roommate's name over and over again, but she can't hear me because my voice is so weak and my back is half off the bed. Trying to pull away from my mattress, but it's still in slow motion and taking forever and too much effort, like I'm being dragged back to sleep so that I'll never be able to fully regain consciousness and slip into a coma.
There's always a weird fear for me.
It's like giving me anxiety.
When I'm really tired or when I'm waking up from a dream and I'm in sleep paralysis, that's the fear I get. I don't typically hallucinate and I don't think I'm going to like die. Sometimes I'm worrying that I'm not breathing and then I'm like, no, I'm okay. But I'm always worried to go back to sleep. I really feel like if I go back to sleep, like something bad will happen or I'm going to fall into a coma or I'll die. That's the anxiety I get from sleep paralysis. And I've learned to like tell myself, like, you've gotten this before, you will be fine. And I still fight it as hard as I can. So I totally understand that.
Again, after what I believe is a long-ass time, I finally open my eyes in real life. I'm still so freaking tired, but I'm too scared to go back to sleep, and it's probably been an hour since I got home, so to keep myself awake, I begin Googling and reading forums about sleep paralysis, and I put
Not going to make it better.
and I put my speakers on so I can listen to music, but I had never been so exhausted in my life. I'm just thinking about that one movie we watched with Maggie Q.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's all about sleep paralysis.
It's all about sleep paralysis.
We recommended it on our last episode, or the episode before that one.
But her kid, spoilers.
No, this is spoilers for the end of the movie. So.
Yeah, her kid sees her tablet and is starting to go through all her research that she's been doing on the sleep paralysis demon, and it gets her kid. So
it doesn't get her kid, like since we're doing full-blown spoilers, she realizes at some point that when she was a little girl, she heard her brother singing a lullaby before he died under mysterious circumstances. And the people she's helping sing that lullaby too because they're battling the same demon. At the end of the movie, she's on like a Skype call and the daughter says she's having trouble sleeping. And then right before the movie ends, she starts humming that theme song. And Maggie Q freaks out because she's like, it's going to get my daughter.
She's like, where'd she learn that song?
Yeah, so that's
I love
that's
Maggie
what that
Q.
is.
I love her in Nikita.
I loved her in Stalker. She's
very good in Stalker.
The show was really good, actually.
That is a show that should have had another season.
I was shocked that it got canceled.
When it got canceled. I was like, really? This show is amazing.
Like there's 17 CSIs, but you're not going to renew Stalker?
Yeah.
Like, what the F?
Oh, my goodness. Stalker is so good. Whoever is a producer, please bring that show back.
They don't watch this shit. They don't listen to it either.
Anyway, all right. Moving on. Anyway, since then, I've had many more sleep paralysis episodes, and in 2018, a coworker and I had talked about sleep paralysis. She told me that her brother studied in a monastery in China as a monk, and he told her the secret to getting out of sleep paralysis.
Please share it with us and all of our listeners. I think we all need to know this.
The trick is...
oh, man. I'm going to put like beep over this part right now so all the listeners are like, God damn it.
The trick is focus on your pinky. I know it sounds crazy, but you're supposed to focus on your pinky fingers and move them. And for some reason, this will break the sleep paralysis. I'm completely skeptical, but willing to try. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll do anything. Who wouldn't, right? Nobody wants to experience sleep paralysis. And if you can get out of it faster without seeing creepy things, I'm all for it.
It reminds me of Kill Bill, like wiggle your big toe. Except it's your pinky
wiggle,
fingers.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Yeah. I'm going to think that in my head the next time, actually. No matter what, if I try and do the pinky thing, I'll be like, wiggle, 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 yeah. Wiggle, 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 yeah.
So the next time I have sleep paralysis, a month or so after that conversation, I'm in bed and it's dark and I can't speak and I can't move and it's dark and scary. So I remember the pinky trick. I try to wiggle it, but for some reason I don't have fingers.
That's fucking awful.
That's horrible.
So much for the secret.
It's like they know. It's like, oh, you think this is a trick? Watch, we're going to take all your fingers away.
If that was in a movie, you'd start wiggling it and then the old hag would show up with like garden shears and just cut off your pinkies. Yeah, that's
why?
Right.
Nightmares.
Right. Take that.
Oh my God.
Enjoy sleeping, people.
In this sleep paralysis dream, I'm looking at my hands, but my hands are invisible. I move my pinky, and it looks like the space where my hands should be is moving around, like a mirage or a glitch in the system.
That's funny.
It's hard to explain, but even if I couldn't see it, I knew that I was mentally moving my pinky finger. And for some reason, the entire space around me was shattering as I focused on my pinky finger movement. I'm like, oh my God, it's working. So I focus harder and it looked like the space-time continuum was about to break. And then bam, I legit woke up and the first thing I do is check if I still have fingers.
That's funny.
So it worked.
It's like having the dream
really
where you
cool.
lose your teeth too. The first thing you do when you wake up is to check and see if they've fallen out or if they're loose or whatever.
I've never had that dream. I'm
good.
That's
a horrible dream. I hate it.
I always dream I fly out of cars into the ocean or my car drives off a cliff into the ocean or I have to drive around a very steep cliff. Lots of cliffs. And I think it's because I grew up in Maui.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, so.
I've had a dream, I think I've talked about it before, where I was like driving on the Skyway, like in Chicago, which is very high. And it was just going up and up and up.
It wasn't
and I realized,
a highway?
No.
Get
I
it?
realized it's a Skyway because it's in the sky. It's higher than a highway. So I looked up and I realized that it was like an on-ramp that kept going up like endlessly. And I've always had dreams like that. And for whatever reason, this was recently, like when I was having that dream, I started going up it and I stopped my car in the middle of the freeway and I was like, you know what? Screw this. And I turned around and drove in the opposite direction of traffic because I was like, I would rather crash head on than get any higher than this. And my dream changed after that. So totally worked.
Okay.
Take control, people.
I don't know if it was purely because of the pinky trick, but I'm definitely going back to using that trick next time that I have sleep paralysis. And maybe some of your listeners might find it helpful.
I would recommend that you folks try it and let us know.
It's never going to hurt to have something to try.
Use hashtag pinky trick and let us know whether or not it worked.
Yeah.
I'm very curious.
Hashtag pinky trick. That sounds weird.
It sounds dirty. I know what you're really trying to say.
Anyway, I've got tons of stories to share, so hopefully I'll write again soon. Thanks for sharing your podcast. You guys are funny as hell, and I love Robin's laugh and the subtle gender nonconforming inclusivity when you guys talk. Thank you.
We try.
For the longest time, I'd been searching for a creepy podcast that wasn't just people reading ghost stories in a shitty voice.
Same.
Man, I'm just like those poor people. Because there's so many. We started listening to a podcast, and I forget which podcast it was, on our most recent road trip. And as soon as we heard the voice, we were just like, nope.
Really?
Yeah. Because we were listening to a lot of Ear Biscuits. And then there was one I tried to start. And it was like super serious.
I do remember this. Yeah.
And we're just like,
I totally remember that. It's a popular one, too.
Yeah, but we couldn't listen to it. It's just like that it has to be, to me, it has to be a very natural conversation.
Yeah.
And that's why I really like Ear Biscuits, because it's like they're just having conversation.
Right.
And I don't know. It just really depends. Like, that's why I like My Favorite Murder too, because they're
telling each other stories.
Right.
Which is similar to our format. I mean, it's a big inspiration to us because you want to talk about a serious topic you've done research on, but you don't want it to be like rhetorical or like you're doing a speaking engagement or like really overly dramatic like that one podcast. I don't even remember what it was anymore. So yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah, I just wanted people with opinions and personality sharing thoughts of what they just read. So thank you for making my workday so much easier to get through. Keep on creeping on, babes. Mahalo, Joe.
Mahalo. Thank you so much for sending that. We appreciate you, Joe.
Thank you.
So I started doing this thing. I should have been doing this whole time, but when we're going to read one of the stories on Storytime, I'm going to send an email to whoever sent it and let you folks know, like, hey, after it's been edited and formatted and everything, and my mom was like, it's good to go.
Oh, you did that today?
Yeah, I sent emails and I said, hey, just so you know, we're going to be doing this live tonight, so if you want to watch. And we have someone over there, Vogue Hawaii, who subscribed over on YouTube.
What?
And they said, yes, it worked that time. Fire. I'll have to use that trick again, but I'm not hard-pressed to have sleep paralysis to see if it was really the trick that worked. So that's them. So thank you so much for joining us. And it's really nice because I just imagine that most people would kind of tune in, but we had such a big backlog, and now that like the fluctuation is happening, we're going to try and let you folks know when your stories are going to be read. It'll be like same-day notification. It won't be like 3 weeks down the line we'll be reading it, because sometimes
we can't.
We don't read the stories when they come in.
Yeah.
We send them to my mother to read, to edit them, because she's so nice. She's the podcast mom. And so she'll send them back to us, and that happens all on the day we're going to go live. So sometimes we'll send stuff, and she'll be like, oh, we've already read this. Or stuff like, oh, this one needs editing, or we need to reply to them and ask them a few questions. And if that's the case, then we don't want to send, like, emails not knowing in the future, like, if your episode is going to get delayed or move forward or whatever the case may be. So we're going to let you know same day that we'll be reading it. So you do have, like, a 2-day warning before it goes live. Or I should say you have a 2-day warning before it comes out in podcast form on Fridays. But if you want to watch that same day, we'll let you know, like, 2 to 4 hours in advance.
I just want to stick my finger in your mouth.
She's so weird, dude. Like, she does it all the time. Like, I'll be talking and she'll stick her finger in my mouth, or like she'll come home and be like, can I have a hug? And she's like, lift your shirt, I want to see your nipples. I'm just like, stop assaulting me.
Why are you showing my weird personality?
You just showed it and I just elaborated on it. So So this next subject is website submission, and the website submission came from scarish.com, where you can go and click contact us, fill out the form and send it, and put your own subject in there, which isn't website submission. And this subject says, my God, GAWD.
Oh my God.
And it starts out like this. Hey, how's it going? Robin and Adam, I found you on Spotify and have been binge listening to your podcast and want to say I love it. But
thank you.
Here's my story.
Oh gosh.
All right.
Wait, why is it but?
It just says, but here's my story.
Okay.
All right. So, boom. One night, me and my mom were watching Ghost Adventures. That's your first mistake right there. As we always do on Saturday nights. It is really cool that you have like a routine with your mom, though. So I'm totally okay with that. Halfway through the episode, I heard someone say, help me, please.
No.
I hear that in Georgie's voice from It. Help me, please. I know where my dad is, so it couldn't be him. It scared the crap out of me. I live on a reservation, so it's pretty fucking weird.
Yeah, you'll float too.
Wow. As we finished the show, I heard it again, so I went to my room where I continued to try to ignore it. When I fell asleep, I had a dream of a man that was sitting on the edge of my bed. All I remember is that he was older than me and my mom. As I asked him who he was, he walked to the quote-unquote trap door that was in my room, my closet. He then climbed in and told me to follow him.
No.
In parentheses, I know there's nothing there in real life, so I did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm going to toss up a why, though, for that. Who follows the creepy guy sleeping or sitting on the edge of your bed?
Yeah, no. Nope.
He then showed me what looked like a torture chamber. By the time he was speaking again, I woke up. When I woke up, I saw a person reaching for my closet. I screamed loud as fuck. The person who was all black looked at me and laughed, sounding a lot like my dad. Then he turned on the lights. My dad then said, quote, "It's me, dumbass." I told him about my dream and he said no and went back to sleep. I hope this wasn't too long, but once again, I want to say that I love your podcast and hope you do more and never stop. You guys hold a place in my heart that keeps me scared but laughing. Of course, you can read this on the podcast. I hope you do. Peace out, my dogs, and Happy New Year.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it. I love it. I absolutely love when stuff like that happens where it's like an actual scary dream mixed with someone that's awake in the real world. And I love your dad's reaction where it's like, "It's me, dumbass."
Yeah,
like, what's wrong
that's
with you?
something a parent would say.
It absolutely is. That's just so funny. Robin always freaks out when I approach her, regardless of how noisy I am. Like, I'll purposely walk on my heels and make noises as I approach, like, "Rrr," so she doesn't freak out. And no matter what I do, I always approach her and she's like, "Ah!" And I'm like, "I was the loudest I can possibly be." And she's like, "You're like a huge ninja."
Linda has started doing this thing where she goes, "I'm coming up behind you," because she knows that I'll freak out.
Because she panics so much. It's just like, "Blah!" It's so funny. You know the people that you see. You know the people that you see that like when they get scared or when they toss like cups of water or coffee or whatever. Robin's not that bad, but I feel like that's the next evolutionary step in her paranoia. Is it's just bound to happen sooner or later.
Okay. Anyway, so this next email is titled, "Hey guys."
Hello.
Hey, but then it begins, "Hi Adam and Robin."
Hi.
Hi. Hey, hi. How do you do?
We got you covered.
Salutations.
Greetings and salutations.
The Earth says hello.
She always mixes that up. I'm quoting Demolition Man, and then she quotes a song. So it's a blend.
It's not a song.
What? Good morning, Starshine. The Earth says hello.
Oh, I'm just quoting it from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp.
Oh, so you're quoting Johnny Depp quoting the song.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Quoteception. That's what we just experienced here.
My name is Francesca, and I'm using Google Translate on my phone to tell this story. So please have patience with me and my English. It is kind of a long story, sorry. And I usually listen with my cousin and kids in the car on our way to school. We love it, but I do explain they can't repeat the bad words ever. So we have made an effort to tone it down so that there's not like, a curse word every 5 minutes or something. And
5 minutes is a long time to go without cursing.
But I think
I will say
it's been a lot different in this past month.
Yeah, I think it's more than a month. I think since episode 50, we've tried to be very aware of it and tried to tone it down, especially me. Robin's been toning it down for a little bit longer than that.
I know my niece definitely called Adam and was like,
I got a phone call from a 5-year-old about a bad word that I said. And it was for an episode that I didn't swear very often. So I was like, dang, man. Like,
oh, dang.
But anyways, I do want to point out that the podcast is listed under the explicit tag on iTunes because there's clean and there's explicit. Clean, you can't swear at all. Explicit, you can swear a whole bunch. And we're not trying to like ramp up our total or anything like that. So we are trying to keep it like fairly clean, but drop an F-bomb when we need to, or whatever the case may be. However, we will read the emails as they're sent to us unless they're excessive, in which case my mom will probably edit it down.
Oh, I change it.
You change it?
Yeah.
Wow, censorship. Wow.
Feel free to share and have a blessed evening. In 2010, I got married to my best friend, the man of my dreams. Oh, that's so sweet.
That is very sweet.
We moved into a nice 3-bedroom apartment in New York City. Dang. A 3-bedroom apartment in New York City. That's an arm and a leg.
It is. It's an arm, a leg, probably like $3,000 a month, and your firstborn.
Well, they have 3.
At least once. I was going to say you can't do a firstborn more than once.
3 bedrooms. It's a lot of money.
Let's quit speculating on how much money you have and get to your story.
Anyway,
Robin says like, oh, I don't swear anymore. Holy shit,
Yeah,
that's a nice place.
But New York, 3 bedrooms in New York. Okay. One of these days, I would love to live in New York City. I think that'd be cool. A few years later, my mother-in-law.
It's news to me.
I just want to try it out. It'd be kind of neat. Like an
I'm okay with
exchange
that.
program or something.
Wow.
A few years later, my mother-in-law moved in with us. Before she moved in, we hadn't seen or heard anything spooky. The first week or so, she said that there is something bad in the kitchen. What? No.
Maybe she meant like throw out the garbage because it stinks.
Throw out the mother-in-law.
Wow.
Joke. I'm not serious. I didn't really understand, but I wanted her to feel comfortable in our home, so I asked her what she wanted us to do. She asked for us to sage the whole apartment, so we did, and had it blessed. A few weeks after that, I'd woken up from a deep sleep and couldn't go back to sleep around 3 a.m. Of course
It's
it is.
always 3 a.m.
I headed to the kitchen for
I'm gonna break in really fast. I'm sorry. True story. I didn't get to bed until 3:30 a.m. on Monday night because we recorded so late. Like that is the latest we've ever gone for a podcast, and we got it out just in the nick of time. That one was absolutely brutal. Like I went to bed so tired, and I looked at the clock like, man, I'm gonna lay down, and then it's gonna be the witching hour, and I'm gonna be creeped out, and it was almost 4. And I was like, oh wow, I went right through the witching hour. Like that didn't happen.
Fun Disney fact. There is a movie on the Disney Channel. It's like a Disney movie called Just in Time, and it has Frankie Muniz in it. And
Of course it does.
He does soapbox racing, but he is, I don't know if he's paralyzed or he's in a wheelchair.
Okay.
So he can't use his legs to use brakes and stuff. He has to use his hands for everything.
How is this relating to anything we just
I
said?
don't know. It's called Just in Time. You said Just in Time.
Wow. Wow. I was like, so he's going to be a demon, right? He wakes up at 3 a.m. That's when he gets paralyzed,
No.
right? No, not at all.
Fun Disney.
Just 3
fun
words
Disney
that I
fact.
said related to that. So cool. Good to know.
It's a really good movie. You guys should watch it. I miss the very classic Disney Channel movies like Cadet Kelly and stuff like that. Like Just in Time. They're like wholesome and cute, and I don't know. These new ones are stuff that I just can't get into. I don't know why. Anyway, so I headed to the kitchen for some warm milk. My mother-in-law was standing in the middle of the kitchen staring at the wall.
Throw out the mother-in-law. Throw her out.
I called her name, but she didn't respond. I walked up to her while talking to her and asking if she needed anything. What? When I touched her shoulder, she jumped and said I scared her.
You scared. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's rich. You scared her. She's standing in the middle of a dark room. She's like, you
At 3
scared
a.m.
me. It's like she's stirring like a cauldron of blood. And she's like, you startled me.
I was about to put my hand in this blender.
Right?
I told her I was talking to her the whole time while I was walking, but she didn't believe me. This happened a few more times throughout the years, enough so that my husband took her to a doctor just to be safe.
There you go.
All the tests came back normal.
Of course they did. They always do.
This is like that Maggie Q movie. The scariest incident happened a few weeks ago. I was taking a little nap because I was feeling a little sick. I had a bad feeling come over me, so I went to the kitchen to get some water. It's always, you're going to the kitchen, bad stuff happens. I walked into the kitchen. It's like the basement.
They did say
no room is safe.
They did say in this story that there was something wrong with the kitchen, so this makes sense.
I walked into the kitchen to my mother-in-law cleaning the kitchen counter with floor cleaner. I asked her what she was doing, and she turned really slowly to face me and put up her right hand, palm out like the stop sign, and a crazy look in her eyes and not blinking. As she stared at me, my heart was beating super hard and I was very much afraid. The closer I got, the more scared I felt. She came up to me with her arms swinging like she wanted to hit me.
Wow.
I kept calling her name out, but she wasn't speaking. I got the feeling that she needed to get out of the kitchen, so when I got as close as I could without getting hit, I grabbed her forearms and dragged her out.
Wow.
I have chills.
This is giving me anxiety.
Literal chills.
Such a good thing. Shout out to Brooklyn Nine-Nine, renewed for season 7. We've already said it once, but I'm very happy about it.
The minute she was out of the kitchen, she dropped to the ground. My husband and I took her to her room, and she explained to us what happened. She said she heard her husband's voice telling her to go to the kitchen and that she couldn't resist it. Ugh, I seriously have chills. I went into the kitchen to clean the counter and found the gas on in the kitchen and a lighter on the counter where she was standing. What?
We are an audio medium. Robin just mouthed the words WTF, so.
I'm just like, that's no.
Super creepy?
For those of you that don't know what those two come together to make, It is a boom.
It is a boom. For those of you who don't know that gas and fire make boom, Robin has just filled you in.
She doesn't like going into the kitchen alone anymore, and we got her a mini fridge for her room. Smooth move. Thanks again, and keep on creeping. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
That was really good. That was really
very
creepy.
Good, very creepy.
You are a very good daughter-in-law, because I know a lot of people who would not tolerate that.
Yeah, hit the road, lady.
You're going to need to find a place for this lady to stay, because she is creeping me out. I don't know what I would do if that happened. I looked over into chat, and I'm going to leave this in the show. And someone said, sorry, my mother-in-law is like that. She is getting dropped. And I'm not going to lie. When you said that she was approaching you swinging, I was like, make sure you go in there with your left at your chin and swing for the fences. Like, keep your defense up.
Swing away.
Man, that is creepy. I don't know. I just don't know what I would do. So thank you very much. We appreciate that. So, all right, I'm going to move on to my last one of the evening, and this one's subject is Close Encounters of the First Kind. Please read on the pod. Now, I didn't look it up. I remember seeing the subject, and the third kind is obviously supposed to be extraterrestrials, and then the first and second kind actually do exist, and I can't even remember what the first and second kind are, so hopefully we'll be told during this email. And it starts out like this. Greetings. I discovered the podcast through a good friend of mine who suggested it after I told her I needed something new to listen to. She recommended Scary-ish because of my love of random and semi-useless information. You are in the right place. And freaky, true-ish stories, as I have had quite a few of them. I'll do the usual gushing and say I do enjoy the show, and it helps the day pass a little bit more quickly while at work. It's good to hear that. We really do appreciate that. This will be a long email, so I'm going to make a couple topic suggestions first. I'd like to hear about mass UFO sightings. I love mass UFO sightings.
There's that one where wasn't it like a whole town that saw all these lights in the sky?
What's really interesting about mass UFO sightings is it's very difficult to find information on the internet because a lot of it has been taken down, which is really, really annoying.
I just thought about Signs just now.
Signs? The movie Signs? That's funny. I could just do a review of the movie Signs. Getting back to the email,
swing away.
The suggestions of Bigfoot or the Myrtle Plantation / Haunted Louisiana. We are going to make our way around the states soon. So
I have steered away from the Myrtle Plantation only because I've heard so much about it. And I mean, granted, we have done a lot of topics that a whole bunch of people have done, but almost every video or every top 10 list or whatever always has it on there.
I've never heard of it. I've never heard of this place. So you could go ahead and cover it, and then I'll know.
But I always see it on there, so I try to steer away from like the stuff that shows up over and over and over again, which is why we have so many weird topics.
This is why I don't look and see what anyone else is doing, because I want to do the things that I discover, so my excitement comes through naturally, and then hopefully I can cover it better than anyone else has. That said, let's go ahead and get back into it. Also, I have a couple of suggestions of fiction podcasts for everyone. Two of my favorites, Welcome to Night Vale, which I have definitely heard of, and Alice Isn't Dead. Both and others are from Night Vale Presents, so good to know. Welcome to Night Vale is the local news show from a kooky little town in the desert. While sometimes absolutely terrifying, you catch yourself wanting to visit. Alice Isn't Dead is a horror/thriller of a woman looking for her quote-unquote dead wife while traveling the country and driving for a shipping company. So, cool. Good suggestions. To begin, a little background information. I am the oldest boy and middle child in a family of 4 siblings. Oldest boy. Got it. Okay, I was like, how can you be the oldest boy but middle child? Because you have a sister that's older than you, obviously.
Ave.
My sister, A, is the oldest. I'm C, and my brothers, who are identical twins, in parentheses, even though they don't look it, are B and D. Get it? A, B, C, D. Got it. A's the girl, C is you, B and D are your twin brothers. We all have had our freaky experiences, but the instances I will be talking about in this message will be centered around some of the things I experienced, and strangely, for each of these, my brother B was with us. Interesting. So it sounds like you have an evil twin, and the other one is just staying at home and avoiding all these things. I've noticed that hardly anybody writes in with encounters of the first kind, aka UFOs. I thought that was the third kind. Maybe
I thought it was the fourth kind.
Well, you have a free. I was gonna say you have a free Xbox. You have a free PC. So let's Google this up. Maybe third kind is when you actually like come face to face with them, and that's why that movie's called Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So good to know. So this is going to be encounters based. Multiple people in my family have seen them, and usually have more than one occasion. I will probably send a few of those your way at some point.
Encounters of the first kind is an encounter within 150 meters.
There you go.
All right.
What's the second then? Since you got it right there. I'm very curious now.
When an encounter with a UFO in the sky or on the ground leaves evidence behind, such as a scorch mark, it's the second kind. When it's visible with occupants inside, it's the third kind. And when you're abducted, it's the fourth kind.
Is there a fifth kind?
No. Oh, yes. Fifth kind is in direct communication between aliens and humans.
Okay. So it sounds like the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind should really be the fifth kind. But that said, this is going to be the first kind. So this seems to be happening a lot with this family. I will probably send you a few of those. We said that.
I've seen those.
Thank you. Thank you for making fun of me tripping over a word like I don't do to you. That's a lie. I do it all the time. I've seen 5, and every one I've ever seen, I witnessed with B there with me. D was with us for most of them as well, but not all. Here are those stories. I like how that leads into it like it's almost like a TV show. The first one, and there's like bold lettering right now, and it's called The Speck. The first I can remember occurred in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I spent most of my school-aged summers in Albuquerque as my mom lived there while I lived with my dad in Louisiana. I must have been around 14 at the time, and my brother's 11. We were playing in the neighborhood pool when the 3 of us noticed a small, odd black speck in the late afternoon sky. When I pointed it out to the others at the pool, they all played it off as either a hang glider or a hot air balloon, as Albuquerque is a hot spot for both. I knew deep down in me that they were wrong. It seemed too large to be a hang glider and too small to be a balloon. It was also completely black, almost as if the sky had a dead pixel. That is super creepy.
That is really creepy.
Or there was a small pinhole punched through the atmosphere.
Dead pixels are the worst.
I stared at it for several minutes, and as it stayed perfectly still off in the distance until someone finally drew my attention away for a moment. When I looked back seconds later, it was gone. I know that sounds dumb, but they get better. Well, I don't think it sounds dumb, so we appreciate that. The next one is called The Flares. The second one also occurred in Albuquerque a couple summers later. My brother and I were walking home from a friend's who lived a few blocks away. It was my last night in town, and I would be flying home the next morning, so my friend came with us to help me pack. It was dark, probably around 10 or 11 at night, and we were walking east towards the mountains when suddenly a dozen super bright, brilliant blue-white lights started rising up over the mountains. They flew up one by one, and as each one rose from a centralized point, it veered off in alternating directions until they formed a loose formation with the first to rise on the outer edges. I always wonder when people see stuff like this that's so well coordinated, if it's just some sort of like aircraft that like the government is developing that they can't tell you about, but they're just going to naturally fly it and be like, some people are going to see shit. Oh, well, you know what I mean? Because it definitely sounds like, I mean, at some point you're going to develop something that's in secret, and if you're going to take it out for a test drive, someone is going to see you. But it's hard to know. They hovered for a moment, and in synchronized movements, they flew back and forward in an unpredictable pattern. It was almost as if they became one larger object and some unseen hand was waving them around. After a few seconds of flying around in their formation, they collected into a single point in the middle and then scattered in all different directions. What you saw was the Dragon Balls, and someone made a wish and you just couldn't see it. So I think I figured that one out. We stood there stunned by what we had just witnessed and proceeded to run the rest of the way back home. I would do the same thing. We told my mom and everyone else at the house what we saw, but they all insisted that it was probably flares, as there are sometimes military training operations in the mountains, but throughout the following years I would see a lot of flares. None of them are that color. Most that are used for light are yellowish or reddish white, unless it's a signal flare, in which case they can be red, green, or white. Flares also flicker like a bright firework flame, which these didn't, and flares simply don't fly around like they're remote controlled. They fly up, then back down in an arc, and typically go out before they hit the ground. That is true. It's annoying when you see something you can't explain, and you try and pass that information along to someone, and they dismiss it, and you're like, did you not think that I would have thought that at some point? Like, when you try and tell someone, like, I saw this thing, like, it was probably that. It's like, yeah, I thought that too, and then I watched it with my eyes, and I'm telling you with my words what I saw, which should let you know that that's not what it was. And people are like, that's what I'm going to say it was, and I think the rest of your details are nonsense. That's so very frustrating. So I empathize with you, and I feel bad that they were dismissive. Do you have a thought?
No.
You're very pensive right now. You have your head on your hand like that. Your hand on your chin.
What's going on in my head right now?
No, I have no idea.
Is that song from Cool Runnings.
Why?
I don't know. It's just repeating in my head.
The third one is called The Predator, which I'm so excited to read because I hope there's clicking and Arnold Schwarzenegger involved. Another one I saw with Just B. He was at my house in Louisiana as D was in the hospital in Dallas recovering from a kidney transplant. That's super serious.
Wow.
Which he received from A. It's crazy he received it from A when he has a twin brother and he got it from his sister instead.
That's really, I think that's amazing.
I was 21 and B was 17, almost 18. I stepped outside for a cigarette, in parentheses, don't smoke, kids. And B came with me. We stood outside for quite a while, even after my cancer stick was finished, talking sparsely and looking at stars on a dark night. Suddenly, I noticed something move in the corner of my eye, off to my right, and I turned to just barely glimpse what looked like a triangular-shaped piece of the sky had detached and was moving to the left. It was huge, made no sound, had no bright lights, and was gone in an instant.
It was a Star Destroyer.
At this point, I also noticed B move his head and eyes to the same spot as me. We then both looked at each other, shock painted on our faces, and shout, "Did you fucking see that?" in unison, confirming that we both had, indeed, fucking seen that.
Oh my god.
This is really well written. The crazy thing about this particular instance is my dad claims to have seen something very similar around a decade or so before. He, to this day, says it reminded him of the Predator, or, quote, as if someone cut a piece of the sky and moved it. It was freaky. That is super creepy. When you both see something and when you bring it up to someone, they're like, I feel like I've seen the exact same thing. So, the next one, I said there was 4 things. I lied. There's 5. The 4th one is called the donut. I told you this one was going to be long. Do you remember? I hope you do. The donut goes on like this.
It's been so long, I've forgotten.
Just a few weeks later, B and I took a trip down to the southern part of the state to see my best friend for the weekend. It was probably around 2 or 3 in the morning, so around the witching hour. 4 of us were sitting around a dying fire pit after a long night of partying. Okay, so I get the feeling like you're drunk here and maybe a little bit high. I'm not going to judge you because I don't know how you party. Maybe you're just playing like Parcheesi around a fire pit or whatever. We were thinking about going to bed when B looks up and starts nearly screaming, "What the fuck is that?" and pointing. Again, I'd like to point out it was written like this, and I just am going to read your words. We look up and see a donut-shaped object. It made no sound, and it again wasn't lit by any lights. I hate you so much. Instead, it was well lit by the eerie yellowish light of the moon, covered by a thin veil of clouds. The object had to have been just a few hundred feet above us and ascended rapidly straight up. Instead of passing through the clouds like a plane, it left a circle punched out of the clouds and continued to ascend until we could no longer see it.
That's creepy.
It's also super cool. Like the image of it just being like, and now there's a donut hole in the cloud. You're welcome. I feel like it was eavesdropping. Like, what are these guys talking about? I really want, oh shit, they noticed us. And it's just gone. Have you ever seen Conehead? Something like that where they realize their cloaking device isn't on. All right. So we're on to the 5th one. And this is the last and longest one. So strap in. We're almost done with this, but it's been really good so far. So I think we can all agree.
All right.
All right. This last one's called the UDO, Unidentified Driving Object. This one is out of chronological sequence as the other 4, but this one is definitely the scariest. Ooh, I'm glad you saved it for last. While I was in college in 2009, B, D, so the twins, my best friend Dre, my girlfriend
I thought
Amy.
C, D were the twins.
C is this person. B and D are the twins. I made a comment about that. A is the oldest sister.
How can B and D be the twins?
He just named them because it's abbreviations of their names. Guaranteed.
Oh, I thought they were born A, B, C, D.
No.
Okay.
Thank you for trying to correct me. No, you're wrong.
I'm so confused.
Shout out to Miss. How are you confused about this? It's very simple to follow.
My brain can't handle.
Shout out to Miss Deezy who just subscribed with Amazon Prime. I was about to say Amazon Twitch Prime. Yeah, I think
it is
work.
Twitch Prime.
So either way, thank you so much, Miss Deezy, for subscribing. We appreciate it.
I'll take this moment to shout out. You guys can, if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can go to twitch.amazon.com and attach your Amazon Prime subscription to your Twitch, and you'd get a free subscription every month, and you can give it to whatever channel you want to.
If you don't give it away, it's $5 free that Amazon basically keeps. You can't take it for yourself unless you're like us. You have your own channel and you give it to yourself. But you can give it to someone else, and we would definitely appreciate it if you just signed up, linked your account, and donated to us.
Yeah, because it doesn't cost you anything. It's included in your Prime subscription.
And if you don't use it, it doesn't roll over. It just goes away. So
Yep.
Good thing to note. So this one that we're ending on is the scariest one. And it says, while I was in college in 2009, B, D, so the twins, my best friend, Dre, my girlfriend, Amy, our friend, Matt, and I took a day trip out to the Kisatchie Natural Forest in central Louisiana. Hope I got that right. We spent the day playing with a campfire, illegally fishing for catfish off a boat launch, and exploring the forest. We didn't go home. I hear the forest, and instantly I'm thinking of that movie that has Jon Snow's wife in it.
The one about Aokigahara.
What?
That's the name of the forest.
No, not that one. I'm thinking about the other one with Jon Snow's wife. Rose Leslie, and she gets abducted or something happens to her the first night, and she slowly starts losing her ability to function and losing her memories.
Yeah, because her twin sister
No. You're thinking about the one where they go into the forest. I'm talking about the one where they're in the cabin, and she runs out into the woods, and then when she comes back, the next day she tries to make breakfast, and she just throws completely sealed eggs into the pan. You keep going back to the one you thought I was talking about, but I'm talking about a different one.
No, I know what you're talking about, because it seems like she got abducted and she was a weird alien.
It seems like she was a replacement, or she had
forgot
something.
how to do stuff.
She had something in her because she's forgetting the basics of life. It's just really, really weird movie. So hopefully that's not what happens here. It's not as bad as that because you sent us the email, so we know that's not the case.
Thank you so much for subscribing.
Shout out to Wild Cali Washu, who has resubscribed for the 6th month in a row. I don't know why some of the streaks reset, but don't worry about that. We're going to figure it out. We're going to reach out to Twitch and be like, WTF, mates.
Aw, and thank you for saying we look lovely.
The message says, Adam looks lovely. You both do. Thank you so much. I appreciate the compliments because I feel ridiculous right now wearing this. For those of you who are listening and not watching, I paid up on the bet I made back in January.
It wasn't a bet. It was
basically a condition where
goal.
if we hit our goal for the donations on the live streams, I would wear a cheerleader outfit and shave my legs, which I have done. It's on YouTube, and am wearing the outfit live right now, which you can also catch over on YouTube.
I'm glad I've already done mine for this month. I don't have to wait till way
Yours
later.
came in for the February one came in before the January one, so mine was a little bit more.
I am going to say, well, I don't know if I should wait. I'll just tell you guys now. But if you go to patreon.com right now and become a patron, patreon.com/scaryishpodcast, we are doing a giveaway where we'll pick one person out of all our patrons, where we're going to give a little tiny package of scary-ish stuff.
Gift
and
package.
it's a little award package. So if you guys want to be a part of that giveaway, go ahead and go to patreon.com/scaryishpodcast because we pick someone tomorrow. So
yeah, I forget that the end of the month is right around the corner. February is so short.
Yeah.
So okay, we're getting back to this. They're doing illegal stuff like fishing for catfish in a spot that they're not supposed to be doing. And this is where it picks up. What kind of
fishing? The mud fishing where you stick your arm into a little cave and the catfish bites onto you, or a regular fishing where
it sounds like regular fishing because it says off of a boat launch.
Okay.
So it sounds like they're doing it the normal way. And now I'm going to get back to this email. It continues. We didn't go home until late that night, around 2 a.m. I feel like if you want to avoid aliens, just go home a little bit earlier because a lot of these things happen at night. Although one of them was 10 to 11.
What do they say in How I Met Your Mother? It's
nothing good happens after 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's what it is.
Or is it 2 a.m.?
I don't remember.
But
it's one of those a.m.s.
Yeah.
So on the drive home, the 6 of us were piled in my small truck. I was driving. Amy was riding shotgun. Dee was in the back of the cab in the jump seat. And Matt, Dre, and B were riding in the bed. There is a section of the drive that is about 3 to 5 miles long of straight, relatively level road surrounded on both sides by dense forest, so needless to say, it was very dark and kind of spooky. This is a really good way to set the mood. Off in the distance, we see a light, a single, very bright white light. The light is annoyingly bright, and I assumed it was a train's headlight. But while modern trains have very bright headlights, they usually have 2 or more, even if they have a central spotlight. We got closer and the light grew in intensity, and I thought next it could be a spotlight like on a police car, but it was just way too bright. I tried flashing my headlights to see if I could get whatever it was to turn the light off or to point in a different direction. The light grew so intense that I was able to see every detail of everything in the cab of my truck, and at this point, everyone was freaking out.
Wow, I would freak out.
I would too. The guys in the back even began banging on the truck and shouting, "Dude, what is that? Why is that light so bright?" Everyone was terrified. It was so bright that I had to pull over and stop, hoping the light would pass us, but it wasn't moving. So I slowly continued driving by the lines on the roads as to not look at the light. It was almost comparable to a welding arc, and it seriously hurt my eyes to look at the source. Finally, the light does begin to move towards us, still getting brighter, until it was about a quarter of a mile away. Then the light split, in parentheses, yes, I mean split.
So there were multiple flying
It
objects.
was one solid light, and then it split, and I'm going to continue now, into two, and dropped drastically in intensity like a car switching from brights to dims, if their brights were a single super intense spotlight. The object then, everyone is like, if you're like me right now, I'm like, I'm going to get abducted because I read this email.
I'm like, aliens
and you're going to get abducted because you listened to it, so we're all in the same boat. The object then sped by at an incredible speed with an audible rumble. The weirdest part was it had the appearance of an early 50s era car like a Cadillac. Only none of us were able to get a good look because it was moving so fast and because of the super bright light right up until it was about to pass us. We were all so freaked out that we all screamed as it went by, and we're screaming and yelling in horror on the way back to our apartment.
What if it was like a military test, like they were testing some new technology?
I feel like I had this theory about an earlier story.
Yeah, it's probably just they're testing out new technology and they're like, we're gonna go by so fast, they're too freaked out, we're fine, just
it sounds like the Men in Black drove past you, but their flashing thing was out.
Hilarious.
So they hit their brights so that you would be like night blind when they passed you. So we were also freaked out. We screamed on the way back, screaming and yelling in horror. Okay. I sped most of the way home, almost hoping I would encounter a police officer so we could tell our story, but I remember there was weed in the truck, so I slowed down. Good move. The slowing down part, not the weed in the truck. This event has haunted us ever since.
Wow.
I still have nightmares about it, and Dre will shudder anytime you mention it. My brothers have a mini freak out every time they have a chance to bring it up. I hope you enjoyed these. These were some of my defining moments of life. I will have some other stories soon. Thanks for reading. Maybe I'll get to hear these again in a few months when you get around to my email. Nanu. Thank you so much for sending that in. Oh, Cameron. Thank you, Cameron, for sending that in. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Aliens are
creepy.
They're very creepy. Because it's hard. It's not like a cryptid. You know what I mean? Aliens are something that it seems like the military wants to try and cover up that they exist. You know what I mean?
I feel like we naturally feel superior to cryptids. Like they're a beast or they're a creature without intelligence.
Aliens
or
have
sentience.
a higher.
But if aliens existed and visited like that, wow.
Sorry.
She just hit her microphone with her glasses somehow. But if aliens existed and have visited and are doing things like what was described in this email, then it's like, you're the cryptid, you know? You might not be the creepy thing they're afraid of, but you're the thing that they're just watching. So that one's really, really creepy. And a really good example of people who say, like, I apologize that this is going to be long. It is okay. Make them long. That's no problem. No big deal about that.
We're an alien ant farm.
What?
Get it?
They're just not good tonight, man. They're just not that good.
Because
I love Alien Ant Farm. I love Smooth Criminal. It's such a wonderful cover.
Because it's like we're an alien's little ant farm where we're all these little humans, you know, in their little thing.
You're understanding the name of the band. It
has
dawned on you finally.
Oh my goodness, that's why they're called that?
Today I learned. You're welcome.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that was really good though. I really do appreciate that. So anyone who has similar stories or stories where you're like, I've never told this to anyone before because you're going to think I'm crazy, you can send them to us. Send them anonymous if you feel like it because you don't want people to know it was you. Whatever you want to do, you can send it our way. And if it's something you don't want to share, you can still send it our way and we'll converse with you on the subject. So we really appreciate you sending that one in, Cameron. That was really, really, really good. And I'm going to freak out at any light I see probably for the next week shining in, which sucks because we live by a road and people drive by with their brights all the time. Thank you so much to everyone who sent us your emails this show. We really appreciate you folks. If any of you have a story out there you'd like to share, please email storytime@scarish.com. You can also go to our website, scarish.com, fill out the contact us form and send it directly to us. We have social medias and you can talk to us on all of those. Facebook.com/scarishpodcast. We have twitch.tv/scarishpodcast, which is where you can watch these show live. You can also see youtube.com/scarish where you can watch these shows live, or after the fact you can watch the live broadcasts, kind of like how you like watch reruns and stuff. Yeah. You can tweet us at scarishpod, Instagram's at scarishpodcast. You can join our Discord by going to our website and finding all our social media links and just clicking that. And you can join our Scary Spooky Friends group on Facebook as well. And any of those places that you want to reach out to us, feel free. And if you want to just participate with us, it would be really, really fun to do during the live shows. It's a really good time. So aside from that, Robin, if folks wanted to donate to us, how can they do so?
We do have a Patreon, patreon.com/scarishpodcast. I do want to remind everyone that's watching tonight that at the end of the month, tomorrow, we are choosing one person out of all our patrons for a giveaway because we have these seasonal giveaways and all our patrons are included. So if you guys want to be a part of that, head on over to patreon.com/scarishpodcast. And then if you want to do a one-time donation, it's ko-fi.com/scarish podcast, right?
Yes.
And you can do one-time donations there. And that helps us upgrade our studio setup and helps us create more content, like that video that we shot of Adam's legs. So
it was awful. But hey, we have some extra money where we can go buy wax to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone who helped me wax my legs, like Robin and Robin's sister. And I hope you guys enjoyed that video because it was fun to do. Even if it was painful, it was a fun time. So there's a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor that maybe we'll toss some like outtakes up
on Patreon or something.
Yeah, who knows what we'll do with them. But thank you folks so much for joining us. We appreciate all of you. Keep sending us your stories. Keep listening. Rate and review us on iTunes, whatever you can do. And I think that's just about everything that we have.
Yeah.
So Robin,
keep on creeping on. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.